Welcome to Behind the Brand, the podcast for small business owners, solopreneurs, and aspiring entrepreneurs who are ready to start strong, stand out, and stay bold. I'm Taylor.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Isabella, and we're part of the powerhouse team of marketers at Moxie Creative.
We're taking you behind the scenes to explore what it takes to build and grow a memorable brand.
Ready to get behind the brand? Let's dive in. Hello, Moxieverse. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Brand. It is your standard co-host here. We've got Taylor, Kelly, and Isabella. And today we're going to talk about the elusive work-life balance.
Yay!
Yay! We're going to talk about it from kind of a few different perspectives because we all have different things going on in our lives.
Yeah, truly three
work.
generations.
So
3 different stages of life.
yeah, you know, Kelly is an empty nester. I am very much in the middle of toddlerhood, and Isabella is living her best 22-year-old life with no responsibilities outside of work.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. I've been keeping myself alive.
Yes, yeah, right, exactly.
When you're 22, that's all you're.
Yeah, right. That's all. That's
what you have to do. But yeah, she's grown. She's learning how to grow up.
And also in this, you know, really getting Kelly's perspective on work-life balance as a business owner, because I think that there's probably some differences in how I have work-life balance as an employee. You know, how Isabella and I have it as employees versus, you know, from a business side, because I know from watching you that running this business can be all consuming at times.
Right.
So
Should we go youngest to oldest?
Oh my gosh, where am I starting off? Give me something to work with.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you do work-life balance?
The first question that I want to ask is to both of you, and I can answer too. Do you believe in work-life balance? Is there such a thing?
Okay, am I starting?
Sure.
And we'll get the wisdom after, right? We'll get the girl who's just figuring it out.
I'll correct you.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, I believe in work-life balance. I think it is so important. I'm still figuring out what that looks like. I know that I have it, but I feel like it's hard to manage it all. Like, I know that I technically have no responsibilities.
I meant that in
I
a nice
do.
way. I meant
But,
that in like a nice way.
You do have
But
responsibilities.
it's hard to manage it all correctly. And
Well,
there's,
what
like-
you do too is 24/7 social media.
Right, my brain honestly never shuts off, and I have all these ideas, and I'm like, I feel like erratic. I can't sleep. I don't go to bed till usually like 2 a.m.
Okay, I think we need to have a talk.
Yeah, like seriously. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. And I'm like trying to get all that together.
All right, team, intervention.
And then you get, oh my gosh, I'm like spilling everything, you guys. Everyone's gonna know everything about me. I'm like in the middle of figuring out all these health things with myself, and that's like a lot, figuring all that out. And then I think about like Taylor, who has kids, and I'm like, how do you, like, I'm like struggling to take care of myself. How do you take care of children? This is crazy.
Okay, let's go back to you.
So anyways, I'm really learning what it means to multitask. I was just saying that this morning, and I just like was thinking about it last week. I truly understand what it means to multitask now, like jumping between things and trying to make time for it all. So I believe in it, but do I know it? I'm still figuring it out.
I think everyone is.
I don't think I
Well, what do you do? Let's just talk about what are some habits you do to maybe shut that brain off and put down your phone for work at least.
Yeah, I really try to just put my phone away, and I just, especially with the weather being nice outside, just go sit outside, and I just sit there and think. I like to write. I'm a writer.
Like journal?
Like, yeah, like I just love to like put all my thoughts into things, and I don't.
How come I didn't know that?
It's weird because I don't really like copywriting. I'm like I'm constantly thinking about things. Oh my gosh, like I'm constantly thinking about things.
So
and so
journaling, yeah, I love
to
it.
like put everything, all my thoughts and things. It's been since I was little. Like I've had just.
Does that help you process?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Exactly. Sometimes I'll just take pen to paper and see what comes out. And sometimes I'm like, is this even me that's writing this? Like, anyways, yeah. So that's my thing. Like my biggest dream one day is to have a book. And when I'm older, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, still talking about
we've
work.
learned
Okay.
so much about Isabella in 2 minutes.
Okay, let's teach her something about work-life
Well,
balance.
Yeah.
I
You go, Taylor.
okay.
You go.
I like to call it work-life blend. I don't know, for me, at least in this point of my life, that things are going to ever feel balanced. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to have, I shouldn't say ever going to have, but right now, because like I said, I do have 2 very young children. My son is 5, my daughter is almost 2. Balance is not a word that I'm using right now. I feel very off kilter 99% of the time. But I have found a really great way to blend work with my life. And I do this very intentionally. I'm not someone who, I don't immediately, 5 o'clock comes around and I don't every day be like, okay, I can't touch my phone. I can't think about work. I can't do things, because one reason is that I want my kids to understand that my career is very important to me as well. And I do have other responsibilities. Like, yes, you are my responsibility. And I don't mean that I'm sitting on my laptop while like everything is happening around me and my kids are pulling at my legs all the time and I'm not paying attention to them. But if there are little things that I need to take care of while my home life is interjecting, I do that, because at work, I also do the same thing. If my home life is calling me during, my 8 to 5, I'm chiming into my home life. I have found ways that I can blend them. And part of that is thanks to Kelly's leadership, of course, and the way that she's built Moxie and how we can approach those things. But for me, I don't think there's ever going to be this balance. Balance to me represents like harmony, and I don't think I got a lot of harmony and peace and all of that jazz happening, but I found what works for me.
Right. I think you are achieving some sort of balance, meaning you are where you need to be when you need to be at. And the reason we do that here is because life happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was your first day you had to leave because Colt was sick.
Colt threw up at daycare.
And you were upset, and I'm like, just go. It's
Yeah.
fine. What are you supposed to do? So I think whether you call it balance or blending, I think you're doing it. And the way you're doing it is exactly how I've always done it. I had a job where I could be flexible and take my kids to preschool and an hour later go pick them up, running around town most of the time when they were little. But then I got my work done, so my boss let me do it.
Right.
So people call that a flexible schedule, which we don't really need to call it that anymore. It seems like most places have it, but not every place. Some places
No, definitely not every
Right,
place.
right.
I'm on LinkedIn daily, and I see a lot of terrible shit out there about companies that do not provide that type. They maybe say they do, or they care about those things, and I see like horror stories every day. Like, it is not.
Yeah.
Every
If
company
I
is not
kept
doing
track,
that.
and I'll be honest, I don't really track time off. If I did, you'd all be fired. But then I also don't track when you're working at home and stuff too.
Yeah.
So we have a very much kind of, on your honor system type of
Right.
thing. And then we're also able to see what work has been done and what work hasn't been done. So I can't talk about big companies. I've never worked at a big company.
Yeah,
I've
right.
only worked at small companies. So like I said, the way you do it, Taylor, I've done it the way Isabella's done it, and I've done it the way you've done it. And I'd say that's pretty much what I do now too. Even though I'm an empty nester, I am no less busy, and I don't know why. Sometimes my dogs are calling me at home, or
I know why.
Why?
Because you don't say no to things.
Yeah.
That's
I like to be
why.
busy too. At this season of my career, I would say I've learned to just, shut it down when I need to shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
I do check my email and my texts, not that I'm worried, but it's just a natural thing, and I will respond to people. But I think I get less upset about it or let it ruin my day type of a thing. So the way I do it is I time block.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a late diagnosed, I think, self-diagnosed, or Maya diagnosed me as ADHD, which explains a lot of
Maya's
things.
Kelly's daughter.
I diagnosed Maya. So
Yeah.
I've got a whole
Isabella is
circle.
Maya's best friend.
Yeah, whatever. I like it. But I time block. I kind of plan out my day. If you guys look at my Google Calendar, it's not all meetings, but it looks like meetings because I'm going to, I have to time block. And when I get those things done, I go home. Now, if I don't get something done and it's time, I'm exhausted, or it's time to go home, I reschedule it or whatever. But if there's not a huge deadline, then I don't work at night. I used to work at night all the time. When my kids were little, I'd pick them up for school at 3 and then I'd work all night. Well, that was no fun.
Right.
That didn't work. So I've had to learn to kind of block my time. But if there's something urgent, then we do it. But, there's always going to be work. And you need to know what's truly urgent and what's not, or what can be done next week or whatever.
Right.
And we work half days on Fridays. Sometimes I don't work on Fridays at all because I don't want to. I think the key to that is planning. And I
Right.
think that's the same thing with you, Taylor. We time block, we figure out what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and then we're done. You have to turn off your brain a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think planning ahead and not waiting to the last minute to do something is a huge thing with work-life balance.
Yeah.
But also when you plan ahead, then you can take a day off if there's a program at school, or if
There's a date that you have to go on.
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's nationally publicized, or you have to move your college daughter for the third time. I mean, so we do that. We give each other grace. We cover for each other, right? When people need to be off, and we do that. On the flip side, as an employer, if I said, no, you can't do that, that doesn't help anything.
Right.
Right. No, you can't get your sick kid.
Yeah.
You know, what are you
Well,
supposed to do?
And I
right?
think that the thing is, for me, the way that I see it is no matter what time I take off, the job that I have to get done is always the same every month. Always, it has to get done regardless. So
Exactly.
you just have to find a way to do it. And that's where I think it's interesting, because you'll start to see a lot more places that are now saying, you have unlimited paid time off. And I think that that makes sense in like our kind of environment, where it's like, I mean, not for everyone, but like for me, for example, it's like I have to get the job done anyways. So it's like if I take that time off, it's up.
I think that's how we are
Yeah,
all.
totally.
But not every employer
No.
is set up that way.
It
And your
doesn't make sense
job
for
is,
everyone, too.
you need to be at a site or on
Yeah.
the phone and available or whatever. But our stuff is more project-based. And that's why, like, too, I know that we put in extra time, and the Friday before Memorial Day, I'm like, really, what's really gonna get done, and what do we have to do? I'm like, just take Friday off,
Yeah.
you know? So try to kind of reward you guys too for some of that, because I know it happens at home, or website's down and Michael's doing it on a Saturday, or whatever. And that's the rule, right? You can have the time off, but if I call you, you better answer.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Well, and I
Brittany.
think that
Yeah, Brittany, yeah.
I think that the hard thing, well, and this is maybe more so, this is how I feel. Sometimes it's like I could have a day where I'm super creative, and then I could have a day where I'm not. And the day that I am really creative, I'll get like an insane amount of things done, versus like a day where I'm not in that kind of. And so it's like you kind of have to go with the flow. Like if I have one night where I'm like, I want to get this work done, this night, even though it's late, like I'm going to do it. And then there's another day where maybe I'm not doing as much, and that's just I feel like how it works well for me. But I'm also still figuring it all out, because I definitely am like very much procrastinator and doing things right when they're due.
For better or for worse, I think all of us here, especially the three of us, sometimes those deadlines are what drives the biggest success. I had a couple weeks ago where my son had all of his like end of the year preschool stuff. Then we didn't have daycare one day. And so once my daughter went to bed, I was working until, 10:30, because I could barely get things done during the day, whatever little bit of nap time she had. But I was
You're trading time.
Yeah, but I'm like, I'm only going until 10:30, because I know that tomorrow is going to come and I need sleep, and I don't know how you stay up until 2 a.m. You stay up late too.
try to.
I do.
I don't stay up late because I want to, and I'm not working usually.
I'm like, if I'm not in bed by 10:30, I'm gonna be useless.
Right. That's what I mean.
So,
you got to just
figure
call
out,
it where
and
it
like
is.
set your boundaries. So for me, like that week, my boundary was 10:30 is my time that I need to shut the computer.
You get up early. 10:30 is late for you.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might have been 10, but
Yeah.
gave myself until
try not to text
until
you past
10:30.
9:30.
Yeah. That's very kind. But that's a huge thing. Like you have to be willing to set
You have to set your own
boundaries.
parameters.
Yeah, right. And it's going to look different for everybody.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What are some boundaries that you set for yourself?
I definitely turn it off on the weekend. Even when I had that huge proposal, I didn't work on it over the weekend. I just can't.
Yeah.
And then even when I did a lot of personal stuff the last couple weekends, well, I think about the last month, I've done a lot. I've been very busy on the weekends. And I get that same kind of burnout whether I was working or doing personal things. And so I'm feeling very burnt out. So I overdid it, And so like I have to have some days where I just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Much of anything.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
naps and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if I told you this, and I don't know if I should wrap myself out, but I've actually started taking my email off of my phone on the weekends.
That's okay.
Friday at like 4:00, I just have to take it off. And I did it one weekend because I was like at max capacity. My brain was on overdrive. And guess what? Nothing happened. I didn't get a damn email
Yeah.
from a client.
But you
And
could have that
I know,
something was wrong.
I know. I'm well aware. But I'm also aware that all of my clients have my personal cell phone number, and they can reach out to me that
I'm
way.
okay if you do that as long as you put your out of office and tell them to call me.
Me.
Yeah.
I know it's the weekend.
I've been doing it for about 3 months now, and nothing has happened. So I'm
Now
gonna
you just
err on
jinxed
the
yourself,
right-
so.
What happened to me was
Caution.
my Gmail stopped giving me notifications.
Oh.
And I think it's
You
like
had a little
almost like
Gmail
someone
fairy.
up there was like, you know what, we're gonna
need a
stop doing
break.
this to her, because I was constantly like looking at my emails and whatever and whatnot, and now then I also then get anxious because I'm like, oh my gosh, I like think that I'm gonna not like that I don't have any important emails coming in. Then I'm like, wait, no, I don't have any notifications. I need to go look. And I've also been fine so far, but it is nice on the weekends, yeah, because then I'm like, okay, I can like kind of shut off a bit. But it is also hard for me because all my hobbies pretty much are work. Like, I do photography. Like, I love doing photography. My friends want to go take photos, but then I have to go edit all of them. And then I love taking videos, and then I like editing those videos, and like, so
True
it's
creative
the
right there.
burnout out gets bad sometimes, because then I'm like, okay, I need to stop.
Yes, I know many graphic designers go home on the weekends and then they do their own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you gotta like get away from
Have other
the
things.
computer especially.
Yeah.
So I hear you about the emails because I think it took me, I don't know, 28 years until I didn't get upset about an email. I mean, because you can just get kind of a vague email, or it can be not such a great email on a Friday night or Saturday morning, and it can ruin your whole weekend.
Yeah.
Right? So I think
We
the
gotta-
tactics that you're using is good.
We got a text from a client a few weeks ago, and it was nothing about work, but I was like, why is he, like, it was funny what he sent us, and I'm like, why is he texting me at 4 p.m. on Friday? Or it was
Yeah.
even later than that. It was like 7 p.m. on Friday, and immediately my red flags went up, like, oh my God, what are we
Yeah.
going to have to handle this? And it wasn't
No,
yeah.
anything like that, but
Right.
it sends like, ooh. down
Right.
your
So I
spine.
think I finally have achieved that blend, because I was digging in my garden the Friday before Memorial Day, and I had a client text me, and he's like, I can't get a hold of so-and-so. And I said, oh, and I texted him back, sorry, we're off today, but I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And I helped him. And I think that's okay. Like, that's my job, and that's fine. But if it was a icky email, like someone's mad, thankfully with Moxie we don't get those, and so we try to manage things okay. And I do think there's more respect now for people's personal time than there used to be.
Yeah.
When I started my career.
Yeah, how have things changed? Do you feel
Yeah.
like,
Well, there was no flexible schedules.
Yeah.
Actually, where I worked, I was the only one that had a flexible schedule, which really caused a lot of divide within the team, because I was treated differently. I also was paid on commission, so I got paid what I did,
right?
which was awesome because I did awesome. But I was able to work part-time, but really all that was I got to go home with my son, but I still had to get all my work done. So I was always like blending, like you said,
Yeah.
too, except I didn't have really the great support from my boss, so it was different. So I kind of have lived that transition between, 8 to 5 and flexible schedule, although I have always lived kind of flexible schedule. When I'd be behind at work, I'd go in, we used to have to go into work because we didn't have computers.
Right.
Go in on a Saturday morning and catch up because you just want to make next week better.
Yeah.
So you kind of go where you're
Yeah, 'cause there's
needed.
nothing worse than having a
Right.
week where you just weren't super productive, and then it spills into the next week, and then that does spill into your home life. So sometimes you do have to play catch up, and that does interfere into your life.
Yeah.
But it always pays off,
Right.
right?
You're like, oh, I worked till 10:30, but I didn't go into the office today. Well, okay, we have to kind of balance that and watch that too. And we're all set up to work at home if we need to, and we bring our laptops back and forth, right? And even if we're not going to work that night, we bring our laptops because we don't know what's going to happen the next morning. Is there going to be a snowstorm? Am I not going to want to drive the 6 minutes to work?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just bring my computer just in case. But I don't mind. Now I can check my emails, and because I am, the boss, good or bad, I need to know what's happening, and then I can figure out, I don't necessarily expect all of you to be doing that constantly, but I'll do it and get a hold of who I have to. Like you said, not many things happen, but if it does, I like to show the clients that we're there too.
Yeah.
But I feel like they respect us
Yeah,
a lot more than they used to be.
Yeah.
Clients.
Well, and we have pretty great clients. I'm not saying we hand pick our clients, but we can tell if there's going to be red flags with clients, and one of those red flags that we can look at, how needy are they going to be? What is the
Really? Because I don't notice that. I mean, I'm not aware until it's too late. No, and we do have clients that maybe are a little bit more on that spectrum, and then they do text us, and
Yep.
we
Yep.
talk them down on a text or whatever. That's okay. But that's a good point, right? In the world of constant communication, how are you, how do you turn your brain off when someone's texting you? And I have to have my phone on me because what if my kids need me or something?
I wear an Apple Watch, so I get I see immediately if someone texts me.
That's the reason I don't
specific-
have an Apple Watch.
You should have an Apple Watch, because the way you lose your phone.
It is so nice for that.
Yeah.
You can pay your phone.
I don't lose my phone that often. I lose my glasses.
Yeah,
was
you
nice
need,
until I
you need
lost
an
the
AirTag
Apple
on your
Watch.
glasses. They need to make one small enough for your glasses.
Yeah.
I want you to crochet me one of those old lady things that hold my glasses. Yeah, okay.
Okay. I don't
Okay, whatever.
crochet.
Sounds like a job for your
So
dog.
why
Learn.
do you want me to?
I don't know.
Ask Michael
Because if you
Kelly.
love me,
She
you would.
crochets.
Yeah, Michael probably knows how.
Yeah, more Michael. Yeah, exactly.
Did we answer any questions? I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know. We're just like shooting the shit about it. It's kind of fun. Bella, one thing that you said is like all of the hobbies and the things that you love doing spill into what you do for a career. You know, you love photography, you love video, you love creating content. Well, those are the things that you have to do for work. Because those are your hobbies, has it made them like less enjoyable for you?
No. I mean, I think that that's maybe a question maybe like down the line in a few years, but I think that when I got into this job, I was like kind of realizing, cause being a creative was something I shoved away when I was younger.
That's not a real job,
picked
that's
up
why.
Yeah, I picked up a camera when I was super little. I loved it. I always would go to the store. I'd always want to get one of the disposable cameras. Like I got a DSLR when I was 10 and I absolutely loved it. And then I shoved it away because I just didn't think that it was something that I was going to be ever capable of doing as a career. I was just like, that's not something that like, I'm not one of those people. And then once I got to start doing this, then it opened up my world to like actually jumping into all of it again. And so right now I love it, and like I'm always like I want to do more of it. It's just like all I do. There's not enough hours in the day for it.
Yeah, so you have to kind of regulate yourself.
Yeah.
For burnout. I think also when we're working on computers, 9-10 hours a day, we shouldn't be on there 16 hours a day.
Yeah,
so
it's
you
bad.
need some analog hobbies.
Yeah. Well, and that's where it's like that's where I can like take my notebook out because I don't write on laptop or anything. I take my notebook out
Good.
and I'm writing and I'm doing all that. I take my camera and I go out and I take photos. I absolutely love being away from my phone, being away from the laptop. But I will say my screen time is unfortunately high because like all my clients are connected to my phone and everything's there, and I also like I'm showering, I'm thinking about stuff, I'm driving, I'm thinking about stuff, and I have been able to like cut that back a little bit because I did have a point where I was like constantly so anxious about all the clients and everything, and I like woke up one morning at like 4 a.m. and I was like just like shaking with anxiety, and I was just like, I can't live like this. This can't happen.
Yeah.
This is gonna cause me so many health issues. I like just got results back, or I've been getting results back from like these like health stuff that I've been doing, and you're able to like see in your body like basically what is going on, and they're like, yeah, your body is like showing like you're at burnout, like this is not like in your head anymore, like, this is happening and you need to get control of it. I have like it's like DHEA something level, and it's like shot up super high, and that's just like prolonged stress thing, and it's self-induced. It's my own thing. It's my head, you know.
So I always feel like the best way to handle that is by planning.
Yeah.
Plan your day, you know, or I always say, plan your work and work your plan. You know, you're going to do this, and that's all you're going to do.
Yeah,
And then I feel like makes us
Totally.
do that spiking.
Yep.
I am curious though, because I imagine that you read about other social media managers and, you know, also other people that are in your generation. And I wonder if what you're experiencing is, I don't want to say par for the course. That's not the right word because that makes it seem
Typical.
Like, yeah. Like
Or
do
common.
Do you think
Yeah.
other social media managers and other Gen Zers are feeling what you're feeling at
Well,
like at high level?
So actually, one of the like highest turnover rate jobs right now is social media managers, social media management, because of the burnout that comes with it, and it comes with, you know, people are getting into it, but they're not getting paid enough, and they don't realize how much work it is. Because at the end of the day, you know, social media manager, but I'm also a photographer, and I'm a video editor, and I'm a copywriter, and I'm like, you know, brand strategist, like whatever, all of that, and that's universal for social media.
And you're doing that
managers.
for 8+
Right.
clients. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
You know, but some social media managers have to work all night. They're constantly monitoring those accounts. I hope that you're not constantly monitoring. I don't think we are.
No, but depends.
Right.
I'm
So,
getting
but I
to
would
see
say
it.
it's not, I mean, so social media.
Right,
manager.
yeah,
I'm not discrediting what she said at all. However, I've been just like Isabella,
Yeah.
where you can work and work and work and work and you're not getting anywhere. I think we all have been there.
Yeah.
And so you have to, especially in this business, like it never ends. There's always another project. In my 30 years, the only way the tool I can teach you guys is to try to plan. Now, doesn't mean the plan is always going to work out, and the plan might need to be adjusted. But if you can't see a roadmap of how to get the work done, then we have an issue.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we schedule, and we schedule. Part of our work is to schedule the work, right? And so we're
Yeah.
doing that for ourselves, doing that for other people. Sometimes we get something blows up our schedule. Okay, now when am I going to do that? You know, and hopefully. And that's why we look at deadlines and priorities.
Yeah.
Because not everything is due today.
Yeah.
Right.
That, I would say, is one of the hardest things for people working at agency, is what to do when.
Yep.
Because everything seems like
Yeah.
an urgency,
Yeah.
right?
And you
Right.
do a really good job of helping with that. I struggle with some of those same
Yeah.
planning things too. I'm 4 years in this role, so I'm not going to say that I'm a pro by any means. And I need that help and that reminder and that encouragement sometimes too, especially if we have a lot of websites that are going on and I handle a lot of those. I need you to say, okay, let's put some deadlines on here. We're not always going to hit them, but it is helpful so I can try to hit those deadlines during work and not have to feel like once the door locks here that I have to,
Because
take
if
it
you
out
have
of
that
here.
list, or you have a schedule, or my business coach had taught me how to time block, and I think it's been the best thing for my ADHD is the time block. It's the way to manage it. Is that
When
we
you
can
time block, what happens if you don't, if you had this from 1 to 3 and then it's not done at 3?
I reschedule it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You will stop. Even
Or
if you're
I'll
in the
continue,
groove,
and,
or-
and if I'm almost done, I'll reschedule whatever. I never hit all my things.
Sure.
Even after 30 years, I still think I'm faster than I am.
Yeah.
'Cause my,
Yeah, right.
my schedule is unrealistic too.
Yeah.
So, but at least I have it on there and I know. But what I have on there is what has to get done, and I'm preparing for the next day what the artists need, or I'm preparing for a deadline. I always try to get people what they need from me first before the things that I have to do. Like yesterday, I needed to get our monthly billing done, but the morning I spent all this time getting creative out to our
Yeah.
digital partner because I had to, because I had deadlines. So sometimes the schedule gets moved, but at least it's a plan and I can figure it out. I rarely work on a weekend
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. What are some things
You guys, I don't want you guys to either.
Yeah. What are some things that you do, Kelly, that are, outside of work that help you decompress from work or, pull away from what is happening here at Moxie, especially as a business owner? Because, it's your livelihood, but it's also the livelihood of 6 other people.
Right.
And,
Well, there's
a lot of responsibility on your back.
right. There's some weekends where I feel that, where I'm worrying, but it doesn't do any good
Yeah.
to worry. That's one thing I've learned too. I like design, right? So I just spent the last month designing my landscaping and doing that. So I put a new garden in, and then I'm working on, some other things around. So I like that. I make centerpieces for fundraisers, which sounds silly, but that's what I do.
Not silly. You're so good.
But it involves planning. I like the planning.
Yeah.
I like the goal setting, and I'm behind on that, so I really need it to rain more so I can get that done.
Don't say that.
I don't exercise as much as I need to, but I try to rest. And I guess the biggest thing I do now that I didn't do before is if I'm tired, I will take a nap.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta
don't need
listen to your
permission,
body.
yeah.
No, if you're tired, I'm good, and sometimes I'll get like Eddie, like, oh, what are you doing? You're taking a nap? Yeah, I'm tired. I didn't sleep good last night.
Yeah.
I'm also at the age where I don't sleep well. And now I have a husband who wakes me up in the middle of the night because he's going to the bathroom and doing all this stuff. And the dogs, I used to sleep better before Eddie moved in.
Kick them out.
Yeah.
Take over Ryan's
I have
room.
a lot of broken sleep, and I just don't think that's not great.
No.
Yeah.
And part of that's ADHD stuff too, but so I have to put down the screen time. If I work at night, I won't sleep.
Right.
I did work like till about 6 o'clock last night. I just finished up something, and then I put away my my computer. So I really try not to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was a really good answer or
No,
not. but
I like it.
it's kind of like I think when we said there's, like you said, you don't have balance, you have blend. There's no hour of shut off and then turn on, right? It's just all kind of mixed together.
Yeah.
When things get too one way, we have a problem, right? So I think earlier this year, I could see the stress on some of our designers' faces, and we were getting a little too busy, and then I hired somebody.
Yeah.
Now we have more stress because we have to bill more. But if it's every night up to 2 a.m. or if it's every weekend we're working, then something's wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think being open to that, not expecting that. We can't expect anybody to work all the time.
Right.
I think is important.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I can't do it, so I can't expect you
Yeah.
guys to do it. So
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely not.
Well, this was a fun episode, just sitting down and chatting with the two of you. I always love that so much because we don't always have a lot of balance around the office, right? Kelly's running one way, Isabella's one way, I'm this way, and we don't always get the time to sit and talk with each other and, express maybe some things that are our pain points or things that we're working through or things that we need to get done. So it was really fun just to chat with you guys, and we really want to do something a little bit differently here and would love to throw it out to all of our listeners and get some ideas from you and keep this conversation going, because work-life balance, work-life blend, whatever we want to call it, is a hot topic, and it's something that is really important. So if you're listening and anything we said here inspired you or made you think, I want to do that, or I do this, this might be helpful for
Yeah,
you
give us the
guys.
tips.
Yes, please share. So find us on our socials and join in on the conversation. All right.
Okay, let's take the rest of the day off.
Oh, ooh.
Oh, yeah, that sounds
Okay.
great.
Oh,
Yeah, that would
we
not be
actually have a
stressful
client
at
coming
all.
in.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Next time.
Next time. All right. Wonderful. Have a great day. Talk to you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Behind the Brand. If you liked this episode, share it with a friend. If you didn't, share it with an enemy. To keep up with us, follow along on our socials. Links are in the show notes below.